So I just put my fingers in his mouth to get him to relax his jaw, lick and chew. His lip might not be tight, but he needs to relax a little bit. And when they lick and chew, they do relax. It's a good sign of relaxation and processing. Yeah, so I'm loving on him, making this as good of an experience as possible. We are not at the stage where I could obviously rub this bag all over him. But that's where I'm headed, right? I'm headed to do lots of other things and get to the point where I don't have to do any of it anymore. But again, I wouldn't spend, 30 straight days doing this. I would look for progress and pick a place to stop, because I know that he's young and there are developmental stages to this process with these young horses. He's not an older horse. He can only take so much. Sometimes it's worth so much to just leave this stuff alone for weeks at a time and then come back to it. These guys don't forget anything. Sometimes they need that time to sit with it and think about it, because the more you push, sometimes it can get worse. So that was interesting. He was less bendy this time and a little more, I want to get out of here. So it's just information for me, and good information, because, that tells me that he's pretty manageable. Hopefully this will be gone by the time I am ready to get on him, this fear. But I need to know that I can bend him and get off. You guys are going to see some big changes in the three of them. Trust me, this is the worst. It's just amazing what a new session can do, a new day, a week later. It's just amazing. So I'm going to get Sundance to regroup with me. I need her. Yep, focused. Lovey's such a good girl. She tries so hard to be perfect and obedient, and she so wants to come when I call Sundance. I'm going to work with Sundance again, because I need to. Sundance should not be moving, you guys. She should be staying there and completely okay. So if I see that she's got a problem, I'm going to address that, and that'll give me a chance to just kind of leave the baby alone. Let him decompress a little bit. He's watching. He's still learning, you guys. Learning plenty. Like, wow, she's okay with it. Maybe I need to be okay with it. Now, some of you might ask, and you'll see this in the other videos of this desensitizing series with the three of them, why aren't I just walking and leading him behind me, which would be another great strategy or technique, because I couldn't before. He would not lead behind me and follow this bag, which would be where I would have started and where I did begin. It's like, okay, can I not be as much of a direct threat and just walk away from you and lead you 10 plus feet behind me and follow me and get to explore this bag? But he couldn't. He bolted, he pulled out of my hands, and I realized, wow, that the easiest is not going to work with him. And so I'm going to have to step it up and meet him where he is. That's pretty good. Pretty good. He's not reacting, so I'm just going to let him think about that for a little bit and lick and chew. Every time he licks and chews, he's thinking, you guys. He's processing. When he doesn't lick and chew, that's why I opened his mouth earlier. He's not relaxed. He's not open. So we're still making progress. Even though he got reactive again, we're still making progress. Aw, scared the poop out of him. So I'm talking to my students and just explaining to them. Another reason why I didn't want to record the mic on this. Explaining to them what I'm doing, why I'm doing it, but I didn't want to. I wanted to really focus on the 3 of them. It's a lot to have 3 horses in here that are not good, that have triggers and fear. It's a lot to handle. So anytime a horse cocks his eye like that, sideways, that's so instinctual, you guys. So earlier on, he would cock his eye and then he'd try to slam himself into that bag and stomp it to death. That is so, or kick at it. I couldn't touch him on the side before or the hind end, or he'd kick at it. And so, you know, as you're approaching your young horse or a horse that is excitable with bags, for example, you know, you always want to come at them from a distance and slowly and see how they respond. And so that's a typical I'm getting ready to jump on you look that he's giving. If he was okay with it, what would he be doing? He'd be looking at it straight on, he'd be smelling it, he'd be relaxed. Don't let that cocked left hind leg fool you because he's in a cow kicking position, because he's done it before. So I'm keeping my distance and always giving him room to run around me, not through me. So he's always got an escape. See, there's the cow kick. He's always got an escape. He can go, and he's learned how to respect my space enough not to try to run on top of me. So I've put some things in place before this. So the bag's helping to stop him and redirect him. Yep, a lot of this is experience, you guys. You know, as well as changing the dynamic, but it's experience. Oh my, took that bag right with him in the face. Now don't worry, you guys are gonna see. So see, he's just holding it all together and then he's thinking about his exit strategy. He's really smart. And so I'm like, yep, here we go. I'm gonna exhaust you right now. So you could get him to lay down. I don't do that. But I know that a lot of colt starters, you know, real pros, and I say that in support, I'm not mocking anyone, you know, they would have laid this guy down. And there's a benefit to that because when a horse is laying down, that's their most vulnerable position. And so if he's laid down, you know, made to lay down, and done nicely, humanely, not just throwing him down, he's in his most vulnerable. And I'm not equipped to handle that, especially if he were to panic. And you can see how tight his lower lip is, you guys. And that's not my style. You know, it's not something that I do, and I don't have a lot of experience with it, and I certainly wouldn't want to screw it up, but I'm not against it. You know, I'll leave that for the real pros who can do it well. And, you know, there's a lot of them that have saved a lot of rogue horses in their time from being destroyed by using a technique like that. And it's not to break their spirit, it's to just prove to the horse that they're not going to die and that you can trust me. But you can see how tight his lower lip is. That's stress. So he's, you know, he's licking and chewing, he's trying and he's learning, but he's really not sure about this bag. And that's what it is, you guys. That's as plain and simple as it is. This horse doesn't have any negative experiences. This is not about a trigger. This is where some young horses are. And in addition to that, he's definitely got the girls influencing him. And so that's why I've decided to step in. And I'm like, yep, we're gonna work through this, dude. We are gonna work through this. And yep, it's gonna get worse before it gets better, you guys. But he's gonna exhaust the heck out of himself. And that's not a bad thing right now. Remember, I'm not running him around here to exhaust him. I'm trying to work with him, giving him an opportunity to think and realize that when he acts nutty, that flag's still there. That bag is still there. It's not gonna leave. So I want him to learn that that type of response or reaction does not benefit him. I'm finally touching him. Isn't that great? So you see the progress. Horse will never lie. If I was doing it wrong for him, we wouldn't see a positive. He'd either be hurt or working harder to get away from me. But I'm giving him an opportunity to think, you guys, and trying to help him think instead of react. That's the key here. Well, Sundance was watching. Look at Lovey going after Billy's cribbing collar. So yep, he tried, and then he couldn't take any more of it. So you guys probably thought, wow, I was making huge progress, and I was. I'm interrupting him and getting him, shutting him down. I'm like, knock off the hysteria. Or you're gonna run into the bag every time. So eventually he's gonna start thinking, you guys, wow, every time I act like this, that bag gets crazier. Every time I start thinking and I try to make friends with that bag, believe me, horses are smart. The bag is actually nicer and not as scary. I mean, there's so many things involved here. Not to mention, he just needs experience. Look at him, he's ready to throw his shoulder on it, he's ready to cow kick it. Anytime he cants that head, cocks it like that, you know he's about killing it. And I want you guys to pay attention to that. And this could be a wild horse. This is so typical of wild horse behavior. Except they're usually much bigger, right? Older. But this is so typical of wild horse. So right now, again, he's just getting more familiar with it. We're just familiarizing him. He's just getting a little bit more experience. And I'm making sure he backs away from me, doesn't think about running into me like he's thought about it. So yeah, while I've worked with him long enough to establish respect for my space, he's getting to the point where he's had it with this bag. And so earlier, in some of, just a little while ago, he was starting to run into me. And they'll try everything, you guys, everything to get you to stop, including running you over. So what do I want to do? I want to be able to get back to where I was, which was touching him. So he's tolerating it, but he doesn't accept it. And you know that because then he has enough and he goes nuts again. So I just want to get him more comfortable with this, more used to it, again, experience. And when I can, make it a pleasurable experience. And of course, you can't hear me, but I'm talking to him. Now I'm talking to him. So he's getting better about it in his face, but he still wants to kill it. That's so funny. He's such a cutie. He's wearing himself out, you guys. I've seen some top clinicians, you guys, in my time studying, do some horrible things to horses like this. I mean, I've seen them lasso the hind leg down by the ankle, tie the rope to their horn of their western saddle, and do the bag behind until the horse was dead lame, struggling. It was just horrible. And that's from one of the most renowned leading trainers and clinicians of our time, who's no longer alive. It was horrible. I left. It was a 3-day colt starting clinic that I almost brought Sundance to. That's how long ago it was. And my friend and I left in tears. And it absolutely blew our mind that the 20 students and hundreds of auditors were just thought he was doing the right thing. No one thought any different but us. It was horrible. It was horrible. You don't want to do anything to hurt these beautiful animals. When he runs and pulls me, I do my best to go with that while giving him some tension and figuring out how to use my balance to get him back. Well, this is better. It's not as reactive. And I'm right now just interrupting him. I'm like, nope, you're not going to start running. He's getting tired though. You're not going to keep running and pulling me all over. We use my body, use my butt as an anchor and leverage when he runs around me. It's another technique you learn. Like I was using Sundance's body to help when he pulled, to help leverage that so he didn't pull on me so much. You can use trees, anything that hopefully doesn't move that much. Yeah, so he's got to get used to that. So he needs to respond to this, not react. So I keep using the bag to move forward or move side to side or touch him. Sundance. She still has a soft look in her eye. It's not as worried by any means as Lovey's eye. But yeah, this baby, here we go. It's getting better, guys. Getting better. So this is, part of desensitizing him, getting him used to this. But you have to be careful. Your safety, his safety.